Hello, it is Tuesday, August 17th, 2021. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to my New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Tuesday puzzle, so we presumably will be edging a bit further into the week with just the tiniest tinge of additional challenge from yesterday, or perhaps not. As always, it's different for everybody. But first, let's address a clue from yesterday. The clue was longs for, with for in parentheses, which if you don't remember, the parentheses mean that the word is sort of helping you out because the word in parentheses is going to also be paired with the answer word, which in this case was yens. Longs for, yens for. And there was a comment from Bill the Cat saying, does anyone have an example of the word yens being used for this meaning in the past 50 years? At the very least, they should put antiquated in the clue. And I thought that was an interesting comment. I was actually pretty familiar with the word yen as a noun used as to mean a longing. In other words, I have a yen for a good crossword. I really yearn for a good crossword. I think this commenter is probably correct that the verb version of this, yens for, I yen for a good crossword, that probably is less commonly used these days, I would say. But the reason I bring it up is because the etymology is actually quite fascinating, and I took it for granted in the past. I think I probably assumed it in some way shared an etymology with yearn because they're so similar, the words. But that's actually totally unrelated. It actually comes from, it's essentially two Chinese words that are similar. Yin and yan, maybe. My pronunciation, obviously, well, it's probably incorrect. But these two Chinese words mean opium and craving. And so they're developed in the late 19th and early 20th century. Actually, it looks like the early 20th century. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the etymology now on the screen. They're developed a sort of slang bit of argot, it says, that means a craving for opium in particular, and that ended up in English basically being yen yen, and then that shortened to yen generally for a yearning. So that's where that comes from, yen, to yearn for, or an object of yearning or longing, or not an object of it, but the concept of the yearning or longing itself. So I never knew that, and that was very interesting. And it does come up in crosswords from time to time. It's one of those short, useful words that constructors can fill a little bit of the grid with. So yen, meaning to yen, to yearn or long, or a yen, a yearning or longing. So there you go. There's a little bit of arguably crosswordese with a very surprising to me etymology. So with that addressed, let's move on to today's Tuesday puzzle, constructed by Ruth Bloomfield Margolin and edited, as always, by Will Shorts. I don't have any reason to drag this out any further, so are we ready to get started? I say yes. Okay. So anger could very well be ire. So let's put it in and see. We've got some crosses now. Classic Icelandic saga. I think this is an Edda, is the Icelandic sagas. And a tall purple flower, an iris, I would imagine. A wild guess, unsurprisingly, is a stab. We don't need to take a stab at that. We can be pretty confident. See 17 across, this says. 17 across, in turn, says, you might dip a 15 down in this before writing something. Well, I would have thought... So this is probably the nib of a traditional pen. Maybe indigo something? I'm actually not sure. This probably refers to some sort of traditional pen ink, and I'm just not familiar with it. Parts of clown costumes would be red noses. So let's look at this cross. A flat, very clever. Flat fee. So this looks like flat fee. In other words, a fixed fee, but in fact, fixed payment, but it's actually referring to a flat, an apartment. So it is rent. And a showy bit of neckwear. A showy bit of neckwear. A tog? Not sure. Let's keep going. To repeat myself, as I said, I assume that is. Fame, could be a legacy, I suppose. Theta of silent films. Oof, that's going to be a tough one. So silent film actor or actress, not sure. Inquires would be asks. Oh, here we go. So you might dip a 15 down. Okay. So when I said indigo, unsurprisingly, my first thought was indigo ink, but that didn't fit in the number of crosses. It really looks like it's going to be indigo ink, doesn't it? So that could very well mean we're dealing with a theme here, and it could be a theme with a rebus. In other words, we haven't seen a rebus actually, I think in maybe a few weeks. A rebus is when more than one letter goes into a single cell. So it could be this, indigo ink, and a showy bit of neckwear. I'm actually not sure what that's getting at. This is trickier than a Tuesday for me typically. Yeah, what would that be? It could be that it reflects back up, right? So if this word is just ends in OG, the indigo could be sort of bouncing up and getting that O from there. That's very plausible. Would be unusual to have a rebus on Tuesday, but could be the case. Let's keep looking around. Baseball's Slammin' Sammy. Well, I know so little about sports, but I do recognize Sammy Sosa as a name. It's got that pleasant alliteration. Oh, fame is renown, of course. How did I not see that? So theta could be Tara. Let's keep looking. Gaping. Well, hopefully we figure out what's going on with the theme at some point. A gaping mouth is a maw. So a married. Excuse me, today I got throat's not doing too well. Married Mademoiselle. So this is an abbreviation. MLLE is a French abbreviation for Mademoiselle, which is the equivalent of Miss in English. So the married version of that would be Mrs., which in French is Madame, which I suppose is, it's MME. Sorry, yes, I think. Western resort town on the Roaring Fork River. I don't know. Although we lost our sort of trail of acrosses here, so let's get back to doing the acrosses. 3 blank, 1986 Western comedy. I'm not sure. This is not a great puzzle for me so far for a Tuesday. Landmark health legislation of 2010 for short. That would be, in American politics, the Affordable Care Act, often referred to as Obamacare. A razor of alarm in a coal mine would be a canary. A small part in a superhero film. So it's not referring to a small acting part, presumably, because we've got this question mark. Not sure what that's getting at, to be honest. Many a home with a circular driveway. A mansion, I guess? Oh, 3 Amigos, the Western comedy. A church council would be a synod. To speak grandly, this comes up not infrequently, to orate, to deliver oration. An Xbox expert say, what I suppose would be a gamer. Swiss tourist destination. Let's look at this cross quickly. Small part, I see, small part in a superhero film. Well, I've not seen the film, but I do certainly have heard of Ant-Man, a small part, presumably. So very clever. So it is referring to a role in a film, but the small is being literal. It's a literal meaning of small, rather than what we would assume a small part meaning an insignificant part. It is a significant but very tiny part. Take care of as a task. We see to the task. Ruined as a martini per 007. Stirred. So the martini, as ordered by James Bond, shaken, not stirred. There's a whole reason, there's a whole sort of rationale for the shaken, not stirred that deals with sort of the ability to see imperfections in potentially subpar spirits. But on another note, on a sort of more personally relevant note, There's a hotel here in London called Duke's Hotel, and the bar, Duke's Bar, is where Ian Fleming referred to the bar in Duke's Hotel as serving the finest martini in the world, and that is where the Vesper Martini, as featured in James Bond, was created. So he Fleming drank at that bar. I've passed by the hotel. I've never gone in. Actually, it's funny. The other day I was thinking I should really go to Duke's Bar and order a martini. I think it's like a 20-pound martini. It's absurd, but probably something to do once. Anyway, sorry about that. And sorry, and I think the reason this jogged my memory is because one of the reasons, obviously, it says 007, but the shaken not stirred directive, I think, was also part of Fleming's order at Duke's Bar. I don't know if Duke's Bar still serves them shaken not stirred, because that's no longer really necessary with modern quality standards. Anyway, Western resort town on the Roaring Fork River. Could it be Aspen? It sounds like it might be right. Okay, let's see. So we've got another potential theme here. You might dip a 25 down in this to test the water. Well, I assume it's going to be dip a toe. Oops, why do I keep forgetting if I'm on a crossword down? So swimming pool is what this would be, right? Oops. So this didn't require anything. Oh, Indio ink, not indigo ink. Is that what this is? Indio ink? I'm sorry. That's probably quite a few people yelling at me through the screen there. So a showy bit of neck. Oh, a boa. India. Oh, goodness. I am losing it, everyone. There was nothing strange about this ever. I just had a complete, I'm sorry. I've been watching this for 7 minutes or something as I flail around these answers. India ink. That sounds very familiar. I don't know why that took me so long. And then a showy bit of neckwear, of course, is a boa, a feather boa. I'm sorry. There that is. And then this is, I suppose, bara theta or bara theta, or the other way around. Theta bara could be. Okay, I'm sorry. That was embarrassing. So anyway, let's see. What am I doing here? I guess we'll just go back to the acrosses. I've sort of lost my bearings. Had words with. I mean, it could be argued with. That would be the most straightforward way to tackle this. Let's see. Scorekeeper. Robert Blank, longtime Disney CEO. Robert Iger. Writ large is what this is looking for. Drains could be saps, as in saps one's energy, drains one's energy. This crossword is sapping my confidence. Things set on windowsills to cool. I think classically those would be pies. Oh, a scorekeeper. So it could be something to do with a musical score. A score in music being the full notated music on paper. Candy blank hospital volunteers. I don't think I know that one. Candy stripers? Could they wear sort of candy stripe, sort of red and white striped clothing? Could that be what that is? I don't know it, but it seems just with the STR and the I probably from music, that seems plausible, and it would need an S to be plural. Blades that don't cut, but that are themselves cut. Blades that don't cut, but that are themselves cut. What is that getting at? Oh, grass, I see. Blades of grass, very clever. Performs as a historical event is reenacts. To forbid something is to ban it. I should be banned from doing these crosswords on the internet after this debacle up there. Oh, Swiss tourist destination. Is this Interlaken? I think actually that is it Ken? Let's see, what is this? Blank Zor-El, Supergirl's real name. That is not something I know. King or queen? Card, I suppose. Pants in slang. It could be trow, abbreviation of trousers. Level-headed. With the S, it looks like sane. So that would make Kara Zor-El, Supergirl's real name. I mean, Kara's a normal sort of non-supernatural name, but that fair enough. Maybe it's that. Shakespeare's Fairy King would be Oberon. You might dip 37 down in this at a dinner party. Could this be fondue, cheese fondue? It's a nice, nice cross here with the Swiss tourist destination. So bread is something you could dip in fondue. Maybe this is candy stripers. That would be funny. Fish that's poisonous unless cooked. Eel, I guess. Wife of Theseus. I'll probably see it with some crosses. Made a bid of. Offered, I guess. If you made a bid of is sort of an odd bit of language, but it makes sense when you think about the offered, the answer. It's not the thing you're bidding for, it's the thing you are in fact bidding. It's the thing you are offering. You're making a bid of this money, probably, but possibly something else that you're bartering. That's not fair. Boo. I could claim this wasn't fair up here, but it was all perfectly fair. I just made a whole mess of it. LAX's counterpart in Northern California. LAX is Los Angeles International Airport, and its counterpart in Northern California is SFO, San Francisco International Airport. Neighborhood of Francia. Oh, I see. This is France in Italian. So So España, I guess, is that what it is? Zippo would be nothing, nada. One getting suckered is a dupe. Something that is atop something is upon it. Basic pizza serving would be one slice. You might dip, this is a fun theme, I like this. You might dip a 55 down in this to make a candle. Paraffin? You might dip, a wick, yeah, right, you might dip a wick. Right, so the wick is dipped in the paraffin, and then that dries and hardens and becomes the solid candle. So initials in a 1955 union merger. Oh, look at this. We had this the other day. Was the other day the AFL part or the CIO part? I don't remember, but the merged union is the AFL-CIO. So AFL is this one. And blank walks like a duck if it walks like a duck. Japanese speaker brand is Iwo. And, Iwa, not Iwo, I'm sorry. Because this 56 down is working without a net. And here we have B-way buy, that would be Broadway buy, a ticket. So here, let's see, let's go back up. Scorekeeper, right? So what keeps the score? Music sheet? I'm not sure what that's getting at. Sweet Italian wine. Uh-oh. So let's look at what we've got down here. Thrill, luxury watch brand, short story writer famous for twist endings, strappy footwear, scorekeeper, wife of Theseus, office notes, high in HI, that's high in Hawaii, bird that quoth in a Poe poem, and Popeye's olive. All right, so we certainly have enough here to be getting on with. I guess we'll just start here since it's where we are. Popeye's olive is olive oil. And then there was some other low-hanging fruit. Short story writer famous for twist endings. That would be O. Henry, as in the classic example here is The Gift of the Magi, the story where the husband and wife buy themselves the sort of gifts that recursively sort of cancel out each other's. Office notes are memos. High in Hawaii would be aloha. Oops. Bird that quoth in a Poe poem would be the raven. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Strappy footwear would be a sandal. Sweet Italian wine. So now with all these crosses, this looks like Marsala. Thrill. So when I was looking at this first, I thought, well, it's probably thrill as a verb, to thrill someone, but I think it's not. I think it's thrill as a noun. Strike that. What I thought it was initially was thrill as a noun, a thrill. I think it is thrill as a verb, to elate, to thrill somebody. And the luxury watch brand is Movado. So that was I would say, a pretty rocky solve for me on a Tuesday, all things considered. And you had to endure something like 8 minutes of a complete mess up in this area. We had a showy bit of neckwear with a boa, which I should have gotten much more quickly because it's really the only thing that could possibly fit in here. And I had red noses pretty early. This India ink, I'm not as disappointed not to have instantly gotten that, but I definitely should have gotten it much more quickly, especially because I should have gotten boa much more quickly, and that would have filled it out. And nib came quite quickly as well. So that was all pretty embarrassing. I'm sorry you had to endure that. As far as the rest of the puzzle goes, thank goodness for the rest of this theme, because I think the theme indicating that there wasn't a rebus or clever bit of reflection or something going on, which would have been surprising on a Tuesday. It would have been surprising. But the other theme answers confirming that that wasn't the case, I think did make me re-examine this area and realize how silly I was being. So we had, let's look at this. We had a nib dipped into India ink. We had a toe dipped into a swimming pool. We had a bit of bread dipped into cheese fondue. And we had a wick dipped into paraffin. Very nice, well-executed theme. And nice for a Tuesday puzzle. And in this case, actually did help me solve the puzzle, because it prompted me to take another look up at this area that I had failed to progress at. So anyway, that's our Tuesday puzzle. That was a long one for a Tuesday. So, and we had that whole bit about yen at the beginning. So maybe I'll let you go now. I hope you enjoyed watching this puzzle. I hope you enjoyed watching me flail around in this crossword. If you did, you should subscribe to the channel so you see my flailings every day. Be up to the minute on my latest flailings. And if you head over to Facebook and search for The Daily Solve, you can find the Facebook page over there. And if you like to get notified about things that way, there's also a post that goes up on Facebook each day when the video goes up. And similarly, if you follow me on Twitter, and the links to those are in the description under the video as well. You could pass somebody on. You could pass this series to somebody through any of those services. That would be greatly appreciated. Really, word of mouth is pretty much how this thing is getting around. That's pretty much all I have access to, really. So huge thanks to everyone who's done that. And finally, if you would like to directly support the show and me in creating this program, you can do that at my Ko-fi page by making a small donation of a couple of quid or a few bucks, an amount of your choosing, whatever you like, on either a one-off or monthly recurring basis. And the link to that Ko-fi page, ko-fi, is underneath every video in the description field. So with that, thank you so much for watching this episode of The Daily Solve. We'll be back tomorrow for a Wednesday puzzle, and given the challenge that this Tuesday puzzle threw at me today, hopefully it's not too bad. I hope you're back tomorrow, and I hope to see you then. But until that point, have an excellent Tuesday. See you soon. Take care.